Got him!
Welcome to Fish North Georgia the Guide. Here's Joshua Little.
Hey guys, Josh Little here with Fish North Georgia the Guide. Wanted to go over the Flint River that we just floated this past weekend. We put in at Joe Kurt's WMA. It's a public access spot that you can put in on the Flint River. One thing to know about the Flint River when you are fishing it or even floating it, the river itself is privately owned by the individuals that own the property. So you cannot just take out anywhere you want to, stand on the banks, you can't stand on the shoals. It is very much private property. If you get out on the shoals, you're trespassing. So just keep that in mind if you go float the river. But the biggest reason that I go down there is to focus on shoal bass. It's one of the few spots in Georgia that you can actually catch shoal bass. Started off at about 6:30 in the morning, made our way down, and there's a couple of areas that are just, they're slower, what we consider dead water, and there's no shoals there, so we push through those areas and go focus on nothing but the shoals. One of the things that we were throwing was topwater, jigs, flukes, shaky head, just a little bit of everything. But what we would do is we'd get to a shoal, we'd kind of turn around, we'd anchor and start working those shoals pretty hard. And what I ended up having the most success on was a tube. And this is a Zoom, just tube, regular tube. And the way that I will rig it is I will take the tube and turn it upside down. And this is just a 1/8 ounce spot sticker ball head. And drop it right inside here. And you're gonna run it down to about the nose of that rig. So it looks like this. The hook is out. So then I'll take it and I will pull it through. And then once you get it down to the head of it, it's kind of a pain, but the purpose of that is, one, you can throw it and you can work it down the shoals a lot better. But this is what it looks like, and you're gonna push the head of that jig where you tie your line out, just like that. So see if you can see that. And then you're gonna take the tube and you're just gonna run it all the way through. So when it sits on there, you've got that tube sitting right on the end, or the hook sitting right on the inside. And I'll make sure that as it comes through, that hook actually comes back and goes into the bait. So as you're working it through the water, I mean, that's how it looks. No hook exposed. Toss it up on the shoals and just let the shoals carry it down. Shoal bass sit in the shoals themselves. They sit behind rocks. They're very similar to trout. So when I would take this, I would throw it at the top of the shoals and just let it work its way down throughout the shoals themselves, running the current, let it pick its own direction. If it get hung up and you could feel it, just kind of pull it a little bit, let the water current pick it back up, and let it continue to move down the river. And that's when the fish would hit it. Toss it up there, let it go down, and we would constantly just pick those areas apart, and that's where we found our success that day. I worked the jig kind of similar, took just a regular 1/4 ounce jig or even a 3/8 ounce jig, toss up in the shoals, kind of work it down through there. But everything that I caught that day came strictly off of just a tube bait. And this is a green pumpkin with a black flake. The water clarity right as it comes over the shoals is pretty clear. So my thought, you want to be as natural as possible. Shoal bass, they're pretty finicky. So you want to match something very similar to what you're throwing. Something else that I caught one on was a shaky head, and just an 1/8 ounce shaky head. And the way that it is rigged, it's with an owner's hook, and it's a 4/0 Gamakatsu hook. This is actually the exact thing that I was throwing. So do the exact same thing. Push the hook through. You don't want it exposed. This is an 1/8 ounce. Like I said, owner's 4/0. Just hook. And this is a finesse zoom trick worm. And I'll throw either their black or their green pumpkin, something very natural that just something that the fish would be normally they would normally see. So if you plan on going down there, the float from Joe Kurtz all the way down to Flat Shoals is probably about 10-hour float maybe. If you're really picking it apart, you can go a lot faster. There's going to be some dead water when you float that area. Every now and then we'll catch a largemouth throughout there, but if you're going down there to fish for shoal bass, go strictly to the shoals, work those areas, and you could actually fish it in maybe 6 hours. If that was all you were doing, is just go from one area to the next, just fish one shoal and move down to the next. But once again, tube bait, toss up in the shoals, or a shaky head, work a jig or a chatterbait the same way. Throw it up there and just work it through the currents themselves. So thank you guys for checking in with Fish North Georgia the Guide. See you guys next time.
Thanks for watching the guide here at Fish North Georgia. Our mission is to build a community of anglers to give you the best and latest information to make your day on the water more successful. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click the bell so you'll be notified of any future content. Make sure you check us out at fishnorthgeorgia.com, where we carry a large variety of bait manufacturers from here in the North Georgia area. So we appreciate you being part of our community, and we'll see you soon.